Okay, it appears I did my J3 turn and the recording failed. So the quick bit is he backed out of India. He had a destroyer here, so I did a kill of it, moved all my ground. I went ahead and knowing I'm going to sacrifice my transport, grabbed my DEI guys just to make sure that this is safe from re-counter attack. Meanwhile, I did a little cheeky 2 fighter, 1 bomber hit of his fighter up here and landed here, dropped units here, have 7 units here. It gives him a 6% shot with his 4 infantry, 2 fighters, cruiser, battleship if he wants to take it on Tokyo. It's maybe a little more than I'd want to give, but I also think, if he takes it and misses it, it's game over, and I don't think he's ready to do that yet. He could take 4 infantry, 2 fighters, and a bomber and have a profitable shot here, but he'd have to use both his transports. And I have C-Zone 63 dead zoned, so he cannot land there without losing his entire navy. So he'd have to sacrifice the 2 transports to get like a positive 5 or 6 value. So I was willing for taking out his fighter to take one more, get him 1 step weaker in Moscow. The downside is I'm very thin through here, but so is he. He's only got 1 US, 1 Russian. I've got my 3 J guys kind of triangulating here. So that's where we ended up standing at. I was happy to do this without having to use a destroyer block and waste a destroyer. I could not dead zone 59, unfortunately, because I was looking at leaving more than just a sub. I could leave a couple other boats down here to be able to hit 59 plus the 9 air that I have, that we could dead zone it, but not really, unfortunately. He can put a destroyer there. And if I pulled a battleship out of there, it just made this too risky, and I wasn't willing to give that. So yeah, so we're going to keep it there to keep all that stuff safe. He can put his destroyer in 60, come down to 59, but I've still got a pretty good size fleet against him that I feel like next turn, if he does that, I'll be able to come into 60, put a destroyer in 51 to save the Philippines, and build enough here to potentially even push him back, if not at least dead zone these 3, dead zone the Philippines. Yeah, I think we should be able to dead zone all 3, to be honest. So this side of the board is feeling pretty good. This side of the board is feeling a little bit rough. He did get his UK in positions where basically the whole Mediterranean's dead zoned for the battleship transport. 14 is 2 fighters and a bomber, but that's still dead zoned. So I think next turn, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do, but I'm going to split my transport and battleship up in the Atlantic, make him have to take it a little bit weaker than he may want to against the battleship. Like if I put the transport over in C-Zone 9, then the carrier can't get the easy kill on it. And, well, I guess he's got his bomber if his bomber stays on this side of the world. If his bomber's out of the way, then potentially we could put there, and he has to use 1 fighter to kill it. That leave him just 2 fighters and the carrier to go after the battleship, which probably not ideal. So we'll see. It'll just depend on what happens on U.S. and Russia turn. But the battleship transports, they're on their last go. Actually, the sub. Now I think about it, the Russian sub would be able to kill the transport anywhere it goes. So they're on their last hurrah. Unless I build in Italy, which would be more reasonable if I had fighters left to land a carrier on, or land on a carrier. I'd like to see the carrier land on the fighters. Okay. Anyways, sorry, this is a brief one. I lost the whole gambit of everything I talked about, so, but that's a quick catch up.